Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about claiming tax dependence as a gig worker. So whether you're a parent with these little crotch goblins running around or a caregiver to a family member that makes it really hard for them to take care of them, there is a chance that you could save money on your taxes by claiming them as dependents on your taxes. However, just like with all aspects of the gig economy and just the tax code in general, there are always rules, laws, and exceptions that most people don't think about. So with that said, we are talking about everything you must know about claiming tax dependence as a gig worker, what the IRS tells you versus how it actually is, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain, is never intended to be, legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. Also, thank you to GigTax for verifying this information and making this video possible. What is a tax dependent? A tax dependent is a child or a relative whose characteristics and relationship to you allow you to claim them on your tax return. Generally, having a dependent means you might be able to take certain tax deductions or tax credits relating to caring for or providing for that individual. We will go through a rundown of the finer details, especially when it comes to being a gig worker and a business owner. But keep in mind, this is a very complex area of the tax code, and there are exceptions to every rule. So, as we said earlier, consult with a tax professional before listening to some tool on the internet acting as if he's knowing what he's talking about. Who can you claim as a tax dependent? For tax purposes, there are two types of dependents. There is the qualifying child or qualifying relative. Don't you just love the word qualifying, by the way? Qualifying child. To claim a child as a dependent on your tax return, the child must meet all of the following criteria. The child has to be part of your family. This is referred to as the relationship test. The child must be your son, daughter, stepchild, foster child, adopted child, brother, sister, half-brother, half-sister, stepbrother, stepsister, or a descendant of any of those people. No, you can't just steal your neighbor's cooter crawley just because you don't want to owe the IRS money. The child has to be under a certain age. This is the age test, and one of these three things has to be true in order to pass the test. The child was 18 or younger at the end of the year, and younger than you or your spouse, if you're married or filing jointly. Once that semen demon turns 18, you're not necessarily SOL. The child was 23 or younger at the end of the year, was a student, and was younger than you or your spouse, married filing jointly. And student in this case means the child was a full-time student for at least 5 calendar months. So 19 years old and taking a year off to figure himself out, admirable, but not a dependent. 19 years old and going to college full-time, that's a dependent. The child is over these age limits, but is permanently and totally disabled as determined by a doctor. To be as clear as possible, you have to be a permanent and total disability if you can't engage in any substantial gainful activity because your physical or mental condition. A qualified physician must certify that the condition has lasted or can be expected to last continuously for 12 months or more, or that the condition can be expected to result in death. The child has to live with you. Otherwise known as the residency test, the child must have lived with you for more than half the tax year. There are certain exceptions, especially if we're going into the student aspect of things. The child was away on college, they were in the hospital, juvenile detention for all the things my sister should have been in prison for, you know, if the cops actually can do their jobs. There are also exceptions for children who were born or died during the tax year, for kids of divorced or separated parents, and for children who were kidnapped, praying that no one has to go through that. In cases of divorce or separation, the custodial parent typically gets to claim the child as a dependent. However, sometimes the non-custodial parent can claim the child as a dependent, but the inner details for that are not for this video. The child can't provide more than half of their own financial support. If your child gets a job and provides at least half of their own financial support, you can't claim them as a tax dependent. However, support generally includes household expenses such as rent, groceries, utilities, clothing, unreimbursed medical expenses, travel costs, and recreation expenses. However, if you teach your kid to pay rent and instead of paying the rent with the money they put into a high yield savings account for them to accrue a 5% interest and give it to them when they're older so they can be set for their financial future, that's not only a workaround to the system, it is teaching your kid financial responsibility and work ethic at a young age, which in my opinion is vitally important to the development of a child. But I'm not a professional here. I'm just a single guy on your screen. What do I actually know here? The child can't file a joint tax return with someone. This is a joint return test. There's an exception here if the child and the child's spouse file a joint return only to claim a refund of the income tax withheld or estimated tax paid. So if you spouted a little semen demon when you were 16 and decided to keep it along with the dad, but you still bum off your parents, don't file a joint tax return, or they shouldn't be helping you at all. The child has to have certain residency or citizenship status. This is the citizen or resident test. The child has to be a U.S. citizen, U.S. resident alien, U.S. national, or resident of Canada or Mexico. There are exceptions for certain adopted children, though. Now, keep in mind, this is a video about claiming dependence as a gig worker, not the political side of migrant workers in the gig economy. We know it's a major issue, and I am sure that there's a point to be made about migrant workers not paying their taxes or anything like that, but this is not the place for it. This is not the time. This is just about information right now. Qualifying relative. Now, a qualifying relative can be any age, but to claim a relative as a tax dependent on your tax return, the person must meet all of the following conditions. The person can't be anyone else's qualifying child, for one. You can't claim someone else's qualifying child as your relative. So if your toddler lives with your parents, for example, and they meet all of the tests to be their qualifying child, you can't also claim them as your qualifying child. The person has to be related to you or live with you. Only one of these things has to be true. The person has one of these relationships to you. They are your child, stepchild, legally adopted child, foster child, or a descendant of any of those people. For example, your grandchild. Or they are your sibling, half-sibling, step-sibling, niece, or nephew, including the kids of your half-siblings. So would that be a quarter nephew at that? Whatever. Is your parent or grandparent, step-parent, aunt, or uncle, in-law, but not your foster parent. So if your qualifying child exceeds the limit to qualify, they may still be eligible to be a qualifying relative, but, you know, they really should just be pulling their own weight. Or the person has lived with you all year. There are exceptions for temporary absences, such as the child being away for college, for children who were born or died during the tax year, for kids of divorced or separated parents, and for children who were kidnapped. Note that only one of the two things has to be true in order to get over that hurdle. That means that a person related to you, it doesn't necessarily have to live with you in order for you to claim them as tax dependent. This is especially important for people supporting elderly parents that live somewhere else because they want their privacy and blah, blah, blah. There are also some opportunities for you here as well, but more on that later. Person's gross income is below the limit. The person's gross income for the year can't be more than $4,700 in the 2023 tax year filed in 2024. That's a number that will also change over time, so make sure you keep up with the IRS to see what is actually available to you there. People who are disabled and have income from a sheltered workshop get an exception. Gross income includes money from rental properties, business income, and taxable unemployment and Social Security benefits. Okay, I'm not someone to judge how someone lives their life, but how does anybody live on $4,700 gross income in this day and age? And the next point answers that question. You have to provide more than half the person's total financial support for the year. Support generally includes household expenses such as rent, groceries, utilities, clothing, or unreimbursed medical expenses, travel costs, and recreation expenses. If multiple people provide support for a person, and because of that, no one person is providing more than 50% of the support providers can sign sign a multiple support declaration designating who gets to claim the supported person as their tax dependent. Just make sure they are thankful for the help you're giving them and gently remind them who can have their plug pulled if they get out of line, who doesn't count as a tax dependent. These people generally won't count as your tax dependents. Anyone at all. If someone else can claim you as dependent, in other words, you usually can't be someone's dependent if they claim dependence yourself, kind of goes back to the kidnapping points that were brought up earlier. Generally, a married person who files joint tax return. There are some important and complicated exceptions to this. Some of them were mentioned, others will be mentioned on a different day. Anyone who is not a U.S. citizen, U.S. resident alien, U.S. national, or a resident of Canada or Mexico. There are exceptions to that for people adopting children, but you generally have to be a citizen. People who work for you, we'll get into more details on that later, and foreign exchange students. Tax breaks and credits for claiming a tax dependent. Claiming a dependent can get you some big tax breaks. Good tax software, including providers who participate in the IRS free file, should ask you questions that will help you determine whether you qualify. Head of household filing status. This head of household filing status gets you bigger tax deductions and more favorable tax brackets than if you filed single. Child tax credit. The child tax credit could get you up to a $2,000 tax credit, with $1,600 being potentially refundable for the 2023 tax year, and potentially getting better over time with how some of these credits can grow in value and some of the qualifications growing in value as well. Child and dependent care tax credit for the 2023 tax year. The child and dependent care tax credit is 20 to 35% up to $3,000 for one qualifying dependent, or $6,000 for two or more qualifying dependents, to cover daycare and similar costs for a child under 13, a spouse or parent unable to care for themselves, or other dependents so you can work. Earned income credit. This EITC can get you between $600 to $7,430 for the 2023 tax year, depending on how many children you have, your marital status, and how much you make. It's something to explore if your adjusted gross income is around or less than $63,000. Adoption credit. The adoption credit covers up to $15,950 in adoption costs per child in 2023. I have made a few videos on these subjects already, and all of them are featured in the Financial Fridays Tax Edition playlist and podcast. The link is in the description. Feel free to check out all those videos and help you better understand some of the intricacies of the tax code that directly affect us as gig workers. Paid caregivers. There are programs in almost every state that allow you to be a paid caregiver and earn an income for taking care of their loved one who needs it. Whether or not it is enough for them is a different story, but not the point. Now, some people may be asking themselves if, as a paid caregiver, if they can also claim their grandparent as a dependent and capitalize on the system. However, this is really a case-by-case issue, and it really depends on the entirety of the situation, which is where I can only say this is a conversation you need to have with your tax professional on this subject. Hiring family members versus claiming dependents. Going back to the business side of things, there's a thought you might be having in your mind about whether or not to hire your kids or claim them as dependent, or some combination of both. After all, there are labor laws, costs, and other things to consider when hiring a family member, and also what is legally allowed tax-wise. Not to mention how you would actually need to develop that long-term goal and not simply be a gig worker. Can you do both? If your child still relies on your financial support and meets the typical dependent requirements, you can file them both on your tax return, but how to properly navigate that is something you absolutely need to discuss with your tax professional. Going to the right tax professional about this is going to be vitally important, especially for all the 1099s, W-2s, and various forms you would be accumulating through all of this and even developing yourself, and that's where GigTax is here to help. Filing your taxes on time, promptly, and accurately is an inevitable aspect of being in business for yourself, and for every hour spent navigating tax season alone, you miss out on potential earnings, precious moments with loved ones, and expose yourself to financial risks. Recognized as the leading tax preparation service for gig workers, GigTax is dedicated to simplifying the process, saving you time, energy, and money. Founded by Joseph Mayo, a gig worker with 6,500 deliveries across 7 platforms since 2020, GigTax addresses the overlooked, overcharged, and underserved needs of gig workers in the financial realm. Driven Wyld subscribers can take advantage of an exclusive 77% discount on GigTax's tax prep, bringing the price from $538 to $124. Act now to get this price locked in before GigTax's calendar is booked, because GigTax helps those just like you make the wisest and most effective decisions on your business and personal tax needs all year round. Secure your spot today with GigTax using the description link below to their Instagram page and slide into the DMs with the word wild and get back to what you do best, making the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.